Hello and welcome to the Small Business Page podcast. My name is David from smallbusinesspage.org, and this podcast is really for people that either want to start and run their own small business or people that do have a small business. So if that describes you, then this is a podcast for you. Okay, today we're going to talk about a couple of issues. The first is having a mobile-ready website, and we'll look into that and why it's important, and some ways that you can address the issues related to mobile-ready website. And we'll also cover a couple of other interesting little points. The first being why should anyone ever do business with you in the first place? Okay. Getting it started, and we'll talk about, first of all, mobile ready website. So your website should be mobile ready if it is not. And the simple way to check whether it is or not is to actually access your website from a mobile device. And by a mobile device, I mean a phone, which has internet access, obviously, and a browser, or something like a tablet PC. And why is it important? Very simple. There's a growing trend, right, of people actually accessing the internet via a mobile phone. And this has actually been, here in the West, we've actually been led by the developing world, where more people actually access the internet using mobile phones than they do on traditional PC computers. But even here in the West, what's actually happening is UK in particular, and I say UK, I'm sure it's the same in other Western countries, but I know for a fact UK because I've actually seen the figures. In UK, there's a growing trend of people accessing the internet over a mobile phone and over tablets. And in fact, we even have something in the UK which is called dual screening, where you'll find people are sitting at home watching TV in a family unit, and they're all on a mobile device. Okay, so even though they've actually got their TV on and they're sitting in a family kind of setting, they're actually all on a mobile device. And the same thing happens in my family, where one of us will be on a tablet PC, Android or whatever, and the other will be on their mobile phone, and we might be using Wi-Fi, and we're got a TV on in the background, but we're all on these mobile devices on the internet. And it's actually gotten to the point over the past few years in my family, and I'm sure you may see this in other families as well, that actually the laptop isn't really used that much for going on the internet. For years and years and years, we've actually just been going on the internet on mobile phone. So what's the point? The point is that if your website is not mobile ready, then what you're doing is you're really making a bad, if you like, or not an optimum experience for your visitor. So they're coming to your website, and they're finding that maybe they have to keep zooming in and out, or to actually get everything to fit properly onto their screen. Or maybe, even worse, you might have elements of your site that don't actually even work on a mobile phone. So some people who, and this is a true situation, someone actually contacted me a few months back wanting some help with their marketing. And the thing was that I actually went onto their website, and I was shocked to discover that, well, they didn't think there was anything wrong with it, but it was actually, there was lots of flash elements in there, which didn't really work very well on a normal computer, let alone a mobile device. And actually, to be honest, it looked terrible. But so there's these kind of issues where it just makes it very difficult for for the person visiting your site to actually use your site if your site is not optimized for mobile devices. Think about this, right? Think about this. Someone is traveling, maybe on a train, and maybe they're going to your town or your city, and they're looking for a business doing whatever it is that you do. Imagine, if you will, that you have a restaurant, and they're looking for a restaurant, and they stumble on a link for your website. They think, okay, that restaurant sounds nice. They're on their phone, on the train, and they click on the link. They go to your website and discover that actually your website doesn't show up very well on their phone, and they're struggling to find out information, zooming in and out and trying to make it work and trying to press on buttons that don't really click very well on a phone. So what's this person likely to do? They're likely to probably just try some other website and try some other restaurant where they can actually get the information they want, and they can see it easily without having to mess around too much with making the website work and clicking on buttons and basic things like that. Now, the situation is now gotten to the point that even Google have actually prioritized the mobile experience on websites, because it's gotten to that point that so many people are actually accessing websites over mobile devices. But if your website is not mobile ready, don't worry, because there's an easy, or, well, not necessarily easy, but there's a fairly simple way to go about fixing that. Okay. Obviously, simple depends on what your situation is. Now, we have something called content management system. So we have something like WordPress. And what these do is that they make it easy to update content on a website and also add functionality and features to a website. So, for example, imagine, if you will, that you have a basic website that has, a few pictures about your restaurant and some text explaining, maybe you have a menu, the text explains what you're all about and so on. And imagine, if you will, that you want to change this. Maybe you want to change the menu and add some other specials and so on. Now, if you have a normal static HTML website, you might have to contact your web designer and send them the information and get them to update it and so on. Or you might go onto your website yourself and mess around with the HTML and the code and update the information. And maybe while that's happening, you have to be careful not to change the layout by mistake and so on. And it might be a bit of a time-consuming exercise. Whereas if you have a content management system, you can keep the design and the layout of your website separate from the text and the content part of it, so that you can easily just log in, and it's almost like using a WordPress. You literally log in and type out whatever you want, or copy and paste whatever you want into a text box, and then you just click on save or update or whatever it is, and go to your website, and the new content is there. And it's actually very, very easy. There's no sort of technical skills required. I mean, I've been using content management systems for years, and I'm no web designer or web developer or whatever. They are pretty easy to use. And as I say, the key powerful, well, there's lots of powerful features about them, but one of the most important things is that as things change on the internet and you need to add some kind of functionality. So, for example, if you have a content management system, and now, as I said, Google is prioritizing sites that are mobile ready, and also consumers obviously like sites that are mobile ready. They, because of the convenience for when they're using different devices and so on. If you have something like WordPress or some other content management system, well, the people that develop the system will automatically be updating and upgrading it, so that whenever you update your installation of WordPress, you'll get a lot of new features, like the ability to display content properly on mobile devices. But even if they haven't yet updated the main system itself, you also get these things called plugins that add extra functionality to your website system. So, for example, before WordPress itself, the core system had been updated, you could get these plugins and themes that would allow you to have a website that is what they call responsive, so that it adjusts itself to fit properly onto any size of screen. So whether the screen is a big computer screen, the content will automatically adjust and fit properly and look good and be usable on a big screen. And even if it's a small mobile phone screen, it'll adjust itself, and the content will display well on a mobile phone screen, and it'll be easy for the user to be able to press the buttons and navigate and see the pictures and so on, and read the text easily. Yeah? Same with a tablet or any other size of screen. So that's the benefit of using a content management system. It just helps you to keep up to date with any kind of technical changes on the internet without having to, go out and spend half your life learning and studying web development and web design and so on. I mean, obviously, if you're into that kind of thing, I mean, I am. I mean, I'm not a web designer, but I've always been into technology anyway. So yeah, so I find these kind of things interesting and so on. But sometimes you just want to, get information out there. You want to update something, and you don't necessarily need to learn the latest, technical nuances of getting of getting that job done. You just want to get the job done because time might be an issue. And that's the benefit of a content management system. So, as I said, key points. If your site isn't optimized for mobile devices, I personally would really be looking at getting that done. And also, if your site is not using a content management system, I would investigate or look into or research sort of moving over to a content management system. All right. Again, everyone's different, and it may benefit your business, it may not, but personally, I would be looking into that and seeing what the benefits are and if it works for you and your business and your customers. Okay. Now I'm just going to talk about the next point, which is why should someone do business with you? Now, whatever business you're actually in, whether you're someone who's selling something, or whether you're producing something and selling it, or you may have a restaurant or factory or whatever business that you're in, more likely than not, someone else is doing that exact same business. Whatever product or service that you offer, someone else is probably doing that as well. If you have a shop, how many shops are there out there? Okay. You sell clothes, well, lots of people are doing that. You sell food, yeah. So basically, there's a lot of competition out there for you. So what is it that you offer that makes customers want to do business with you? Why should someone spend their good hard-earned money on your product or your service? This is an important question to ask. And also, if you're not actually yet in business, or if you're thinking of starting a new business, again, ask yourself that question. Why should someone actually spend their hard-earned money on whatever it is that you're offering? All right? And it may sound like a silly question, but it's pretty important. Because customers have so much choice out there. They really do. And more people are starting to, products are being offered left, right, and center all the time. So it's important to think about that. And if you haven't really thought about it, or if it's something that's kind of challenging you, this might help. Just think about what it is that your customers, if you have customers right now, like about your product or service. Or if you don't yet have any customers, you think about what it is that you think is the key, most important thing about your product or service. Or the main benefit, if you like. Right? So maybe if you're have a restaurant, maybe you offer, maybe you're the only one in town that offers a family sort of dining environment, or maybe that's your key benefit. Maybe you've got amazing customer services based on what you think is amazing customer services. Okay. But you can always ask your customers or think about what feedback you get from your customers. And then when you have this information, you should actually communicate it to new customers. So let people know, if they're a new or a potential customer, let them know what's, really good about your business, or what's amazing about your business, or what others like about your business or your service. You communicate this information to new customers or potential customers, people that might become customers. But at the same time, I think it's important for you to tell this to your existing customers, right? So someone's been doing business with you for a while. They regularly come to your shop, or regularly eat at your restaurant, or regularly buy your product. So why not also remind them what's good about your business? You might think, well, why should I remind them? I mean, they're already doing business with me. Well, it's they might be doing business with you just because they are, because, on that day they just happen to be, it was convenient or whatever it is. But if you actually communicate with people and you remind them why they should be doing business with you, then that might help you to secure that person as a long-term customer. All right? And if you think about how big companies do it, think about places like, I don't know, any big brand that you see. I mean, they're just constantly bombarding you with adverts all the time. I mean, yeah, I personally find a lot of them really annoying. But the point is, why are they doing that? Right? They already have customers. They already have multi-million turnover and so on, and huge amounts of customers and so on. But they're doing that because they realize the importance of reminding current customers to keep doing business with them. Yeah. Think of burgers. They're constantly advertising, and banks constantly. So if they're doing it, maybe we, as smaller business people, should also remember the importance of reminding our current customers why they should be doing business with us, thanking them even for doing business with us, not only just focusing on new customers or potential customers, right? So I think it's a good idea to think of it as like a dialogue, as a back and forth communication, yeah. Finding out what people like about what we're doing, and then sharing that with others, with other potential customers and with existing customers as well. And if you've got any comments on this point or anything else that we've talked about today, please feel free to get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. I've just been talking about dialogue. Yeah, so I'd love to hear from you, and you can share your thoughts, you can ask questions, and let's create a dialogue. Okay, so now I'd like to talk about a business idea. So in each podcast, I want to try and cover a business idea because, you might be thinking of starting a business and you may need ideas. So we'll look at different ideas. Or maybe you're in a situation that you don't necessarily need an idea to start a new venture. Maybe you're already in a venture and maybe you're looking to diversify, expand, start something different. Whatever the case may be. Maybe you just like hearing business ideas because you find it interesting, like me. Anyway, so today's idea is mail order business. And you might be thinking, well, mail order? Really? Well, the basic idea of mail order is that people buy products from you over the mail. They literally can order goods and services and you post them to them through the mail. And you might think, well, that sounds a bit olden day. It is. I think it's some of the first mail order adverts. I think were, I can't remember now. I saw this in a book on advertising, and they were, I don't know, 100 years ago or 150 years ago. I really can't remember. So mail order's been going on for a very long time, and traditionally, it's been quite often people would advertise their products in classified section of newspapers, and people would write in and post a check, and then they would get whatever the product is through the mail. Obviously now with the internet, a lot of it also can be done over the internet as well, where people can just go to a website and order whatever the product or service is, and it gets posted out to them. And now, obviously, the benefit for you to run a mail order business is that it's you don't have to have an actual shop, as it were. So maybe some of the startup costs can be maybe not as high as having a retail outlet. And obviously that there's elements of being scalable as well, in being that something that you can start off maybe a bit smaller and grow depending on the demand. Internet as well has reduced some of the costs of running this type of business. Now you might think, okay, what kind of things can be sold via mail order? Well, if ever you look on the shopping channels, if you have any of those shopping channels on the TV, you'll see the kind of things that they sell, and that is just a type of mail order, except they're advertising over the television. Okay, so lots and lots of products can be sold via mail order. Common ones that I see is DVDs for different types of exercise, actual machines for blending and juicing and whatever else, hoovers and things like that. Different types of gadgets are sold via mail order, but it really can be anything. I mean, I saw just the other day there was someone who was selling, he said quite successfully, he was selling wooden signs. Okay, so wooden plaques with messages on them. I didn't really have a proper look at that, but he said he was doing some pretty good business, and he was just advertising via social media. So, but the point is that there's lots of different types of mail order, and for lots of different types of products, and the business can be as complicated or as simple, as your creativity will allow. And obviously it depends on what you know about the business, what you know about the customers, and your creativity and your capital, your skills to organize and so on. But an interesting business all the same. Mail order. So if you've got any thoughts on that, please get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. Or if you're in mail order and you can give us some insight from your own experience and so on, please get in touch. and let us know. Okay, now I'm going to end the podcast with just a little question, and I'll give you my take on the answer in the next podcast. But in the meantime, you can always go to smallbusinesspage.org and put down, contact me and tell me what the answer. Tell me your opinion. Okay, so feel free to share your opinion with me. I'd love to hear from you. And the question is this. This is something that a colleague of mine a few months ago posed this question. We were doing a consultancy project and he had an opinion that was different to my opinion. So let's hear yours. Right. Imagine, if you will, that you have a business, and in this case the business was actually a museum business, and I think 90% of their clients, 80 or 90%, I can't remember now, did not use the internet. Okay? And they'd done a survey and 90% of their visitors did not use the internet. So the question is, should they advertise on the internet or do digital marketing or internet-based marketing if 80 to 90% of their visitors do not actually use the internet? Question is, again, should you be spending money on internet-based marketing methods, digital marketing if you like, if 80 to 90% of your customers do not actually use the internet? That's the question. And I'll let you know what I think next podcast. But feel free to get in touch with me and tell me what you think. And just before I go, one more point is there. I was checking the podcast stats the other day, and someone actually left a like, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. If you were the person that liked the last week's podcast, I really appreciate that, because sometimes obviously it's a bit of a challenge to produce a podcast, simply because you know what life is like. There's always so many things to do, hardly ever any time, and it's quite nice when someone actually, likes or shares or whatever it is, and shows appreciation. So thank you very much. I do appreciate it, whoever you are. Thank you very much for listening. My name is David Mangoro. I'm from smallbusinesspage.org. Thank you for listening, and talk to you next time. Bye for now.